Deep within the suffocating darkness of this isolated cavern, a biological nightmare seemingly comes to life. These are the ghost bats, widely considered to possess some of the most striking, yet unnerving facial features on the planet. With their wrinkled, grotesque faces and massive ears, they are perfectly adapted to a life lived entirely in the shadows, clinging tightly to the damp, jagged ceiling. Protective mothers gently cradle their fragile, hairless pups. The massive colony slowly awakens as dusk approaches, preparing for the perilous journey outside. Sustaining themselves is the only way to ensure the survival of this delicate bloodline. Tonight, duty calls. The mothers must leave their sanctuary to hunt. As twilight settles outside, a primal rhythm takes hold. By the thousands, adult bats detach from the ceiling, initiating a massive, swirling exodus into the night sky. They leave behind a cavern, echoing with the desperate, high-pitched calls of the young. These pups, still completely naked and utterly defenseless, must huddle tightly together for warmth and security. Clinging precariously to the unforgiving cave walls, they are left to wait patiently in the dark. But in this treacherous underground ecosystem, safety is nothing more than a fragile illusion. The cavern floor below belongs to ruthless, calculating scavengers. Drawn by the overwhelming scent of the massive nursery above, opportunistic cave rats begin to emerge from the deep, rocky crevices. They are hungry, aggressive, and infinitely patient predators of the dark. They know that in a colony of this incredible magnitude, gravity is their greatest ally. The rodents aggressively patrol the damp, jagged stones, their sensitive whiskers twitching frantically as they scan the ceiling. Some even begin scaling the vertical rock walls, driven entirely by the scent of vulnerable prey. They are waiting for a single misstep to deliver a meal directly into their jaws. The inevitable finally happens in the darkness above. A tiny pup loses its desperate hold on the slippery rock and plummets into the abyss. It is completely helpless, struggling weakly in the cold, wet mud, entirely unable to fly. Instantly, the ground-dwelling predators recognize their opportunity and strike. A massive rat rapidly closes the distance, its sharp incisors clamping down hard on the fragile, shivering infant. With ruthless efficiency, the rodent quickly drags its struggling prize away into the dark, hidden recesses of the cave to feast in absolute peace. It is a harsh, uncompromising reality of this subterranean world. The weak, or the unlucky, are rapidly recycled back into this brutal ecosystem. There is absolutely no defense and zero chance of rescue. The mothers are miles away. Moments later, yet another vulnerable pup falls, immediately setting off a chaotic scramble. But securing a warm meal in this cutthroat environment is only half the battle. Keeping it is another entirely. Two massive rats lock eyes over the fallen infant, and a vicious, high-stakes brawl violently erupts. They grapple, bite, and kick with intense ferocity, completely consumed by their bloody dispute over the fresh meat. It is a brutal, underground display of dominance and desperate hunger. However, their intense focus on destroying each other quickly becomes their ultimate downfall. While the two heavy combatants are entirely distracted by their furious feud, a third, highly opportunistic rat quietly slips directly into the fray. With a swift, calculated movement, the cunning newcomer snatches the prized infant right from under their noses. It vanishes instantly into the shadows. Miles away from the underground chaos, the adult bats are entirely focused on their own survival. They blanket the night sky, driven by the desperate need to consume enough food to produce milk for their young. Some expertly navigate the tangled tree branches, using precise echolocation to pinpoint fat, juicy caterpillars clinging tightly to the rough bark. Every successful catch translates to precious energy for the nursery. But other members of the flock take a far more unusual and dangerous approach for a flying mammal. They dive straight down from the canopy to the damp, leaf-littered forest floor. Here, they literally land and begin to crawl, awkwardly, yet incredibly effectively, among the decaying leaves, exposed roots, and jagged stones. They are actively stalking large, protein-rich insects, like giant cave crickets, directly in the dense underbrush. As the crickets move, the bats use their massive ears to track every single rustle and vibration in the soil. Once locked onto their target, they pounce with surprising agility, trapping the insects beneath their leathery wings before delivering a fatal bite. It is a rare, fascinating, and highly aggressive hunting technique, proving these creatures are just as lethal on the solid ground as they are in the open air. However, spending this much time actively foraging on the forest floor comes with a massive, life-threatening risk. Out here in the open woods, they have entered an arena where they are no longer the apex predators. Danger surrounds them. High above the foraging bats, a silent, feathered assassin intently watches the feast. A massive nocturnal owl, possessing night vision and hearing far superior to human comprehension, carefully tracks the chaotic flight of the colony. It waits patiently on a branch for the perfect trajectory. Then, it drops. With terrifying speed and completely silent wings, the owl swoops down and snatches a bat straight out of the humid night air. The giant bird immediately pins its struggling prey to the forest floor, its razor-sharp talons ensuring there is absolutely no chance of escape. It is a quick, brutal, and highly efficient kill under the pale moonlight. The owl meticulously tears into its freshly caught meal, completely unfazed by the frantic swarm of bats continuing to fly directly overhead. In the brutal and unforgiving hierarchy of the dark jungle, the hunters have rapidly become the hunted. Yet, the deadly threats are not merely airborne. Down in the tangled undergrowth, another ancient predator lies in perfect ambush, a massive python, perfectly camouflaged among the dead leaves. As a bat flies just inches above the ground, the serpent violently strikes. Its massive jaws clamp down, wrapping the mammal in muscular coils. As if the giant birds and serpents were not enough, the dark forest holds silent, almost invisible traps. A highly venomous spider has strategically cast an incredibly strong, intricate web directly across a narrow flight path between the rocks. A bat, flying far too fast in the darkness to detect the microscopic threads, crashes violently into the snare. The spider wastes absolutely no time. It immediately descends upon the struggling, panicked mammal, quickly delivering a potent, paralyzing bite to subdue it. Working with cold, mechanical precision, the giant arachnid spins a thick, dense cocoon of silk around its victim, effectively entombing the bat alive. There is absolutely no escaping this sticky, silken grave. The trap is completely flawless, ensuring the spider will feast for days, while the bat's young will wait in vain. But nature is fundamentally a numbers game. As dawn breaks, the resilient survivors make their triumphant return. A massive, swirling black cloud funnels back into the cavern to nurse the next generation.